So now to start the content of what this lecture is about, we're just doing sort of a half lecture today. We're going to talk about ontology, which is the most basic philosophical concept, the absolute ground of philosophy. And it is our approach to reality, our perception of reality. And it's an opening thought. I'm going to call this an opening thought on accounting. Not just because it's an initial thought, but also that I'm requesting you to be, open your mind to what I'm about to tell you in a very philosophical way. It's best that you don't approach it as points that I'm trying to learn these points, but try and get a feeling for what's going on here. So we're going to be looking at ontology. This is the basic philosophical concept, but also an extremely handy tool when it comes to understanding our cases and understanding research and understanding anything that we face in reality. So the first thing I want to talk about is the philosophical problem of accounting. I don't think it's unlikely that you would have seen accounting to date as a philosophical problem, but I think it's worth considering. And the philosophical problem, anything that's philosophical in nature, sees or tries to understand that the way we see a problem is itself a problem. The way we see the world, the way we try and sort things out, try and create an understanding, is itself a problem that needs to be questioned. So philosophy is all about trying to question our understanding, or the process of understanding. And that is a definition, it's probably very old, but I recently heard it by Slavoj Žižek, who is perhaps one of the greatest philosophical minds of the modern era. And he's still prolific. And yes. So, accounting sees problems in a certain way, approaches the world in a certain way. And so taking a philosophical approach would be then questioning the way that accounting sees the world. Accounting constantly tries to objectify reality that is, in fact, inherently subjective. Reality, social reality, organizational reality is inherently subjective, but it tries to objectify it, and in a way tries to see it from one point of view. That's what an objective point of view would be, that there is one unified, right way of looking at the world. And it is always, it can be power's point of view, that whenever we objectify something, it's always from the higher order of things, this so-called higher scheme of things. And in organizations, the accounting view of the world is often manager's view of the world. So accounting objectifies. It selectively, and in that it is very, it's selective with what it sees and what it doesn't see. So it sees things but excludes other things. Anything that it can measure with numbers and monetary values, it sees. And anything it can't do that with particular methods, it doesn't see. So it doesn't see intangible assets and knowledge and education and satisfaction. It doesn't see growth options and potential. It can only see profit and cash and revenue and tangible forms of assets like buildings and trucks, and liabilities like big debts and bank accounts. These are things that are measurable, that have economic value, that is easily determined, and therefore can be put in a balance sheet. So we can see that accounting as a lens of viewing the world is biased. It has a selective view or a discriminating eye on reality. It also objectifies relationships. So accounting has not just a set of perceptions, but a set of values. In only seeing things that can be quantified economically, it says that they're the only things that matter. That the only things that matter are what can be determined economically and what create economic value for an organisation. And so in a way it excludes other things that have value in social ways, or maybe even profitably speaking, but cannot be actively measured. it also creates relationships between phenomena. So my relationship with my subordinates is actively mediated by how well they're going and how much profit they're producing for the organisation. Likewise, my relationship with myself, my own identity, how I see myself, is created and determined by how much money or what my numbers are, what numbers I'm bringing in. So there is a subjective or mental states that can be created through accounting. And accounting's rational and objective view of the world influences how we see each other, how we see our colleagues, our friends, our family, and very much flavours the decisions we make. If we're in an organisation that has lots of visibility around our financial performance and how much bonuses we get, then we see our colleagues and friends in that organisation as competitive threats to our bonuses. That we're in direct competition to getting customers, and so accounting and what numbers we're bringing in really creates a sense of self. It's the same in university. Each academic can be given an impact factor or a citation rating or a publication rating. You can definitely see very visibly personality differences on the basis of who's published more and who's more influential in the research circles. This is accounting at work. This is being viewed under the lens of accounting and letting that create identities or perceptions of ourselves. So just to sum up, we can see then that accounting creates reality. Accounting creates as much as it perceives social reality. So we know that accounting perceives social reality. It's a way of measuring what's going on in the business, but it also creates social reality. It creates views of self, views of our relationships with each other, views of everything that we approach, phenomena, our relationships, decisions. So, and then we act within those mental states. If our mental state is constantly trying to look at everything from an economically feasible point of view, then our decisions are going to be governed by that point of view, and therefore reality, the actual physical reality, then changes in that relationship. Okay, so what is ontology then? Like I said before, it's a foundational philosophical concept, and it relates to how we approach reality. How do we see phenomena in the world? And your reading this week will be about the various, they break it down into 5, Theobald, Ryans and Scapins, break it into 5 different ontological perceptions. But basically each of those relates to your relationship with phenomena, where you sit as an observer, the relationship between you in this eyes, this consciousness, and reality. And although those, Ryan et al. Refer to 5 different ontologies, from seeing reality as a concrete structure to seeing reality as an imaginary process, as being purely within the minds of individuals. I think those 5 are interesting distinctions. I'm going to be looking at 3 main types, ontological distinctions. And I'm going to be referring to them as hard, medium, and soft. And the funny thing about ontology is that we rarely ever question or experience our own ontology. It's not until we make it a problem and we sort of be a little bit more reflexive and reflective do we understand where our ontologies come from. Our ontology lies